Hello, you're watching the Daily Roundup by People's Dispatch, where we bring you some of the top stories from around the world. Let's take a look at the headlines. Rights groups sue Peru's president for protesters' killings. 73 presumed dead or missing off the coast of Libya in boat disaster. Israel passes law to strip citizenship of Palestinians resisting occupation. Teachers protest conservative government's education reform in Greece. A group of Peruvian human rights organizations and independent lawyers on Wednesday, February 15, filed a legal complaint against de facto President Dina Boluarte, her ministers, and police chiefs over the deaths of 6 people during protests in the Apurimac region in December 2022. The complaint says that during the first 5 days of demonstrations against Boluarte's assumption of power, which began on December 7, 2022, 6 people were killed, 83 were injured, and dozens were arrested and tortured at the hands of police officers. According to a statement by the Legal Defense Institute, one of the organizations that filed the lawsuit, 5 of the deceased lost their lives due to firearm projectile impact. 2 were adolescents, and the eldest victim was only 19. The judicial document, which was delivered to the National Prosecutor's Office, includes audiovisual evidence, incriminating documents, and testimonies from victims. It is not possible to commit a massacre without the support of the highest level authorities. Not only the police officers who were direct actors are responsible, but also the immediate perpetrators, the organizations denounced in their statement. In addition to Boluarte, the lawsuits include the former Prime Minister Pedro Angulo, the former Defense Minister and current Prime Minister Alberto Otarola, the former Interior Minister Cesar Cervantes, the General Commander of the Police Raul Alfaro, and 2 other police commanders. The complaint is the second against the Boluarte government and adds to another ongoing investigation by the prosecutor's office into the death of 8 protesters massacred in the Ayacucho region on December 15. In the past 10 weeks of the social protests, which broke out after the democratically elected President Pedro Castillo was removed from office in a legislative coup, more than 60 people were killed and over 1,000 were injured. 48 of the total fatal victims died due to the direct repression of the public security forces. Since December 7, 2022, hundreds of thousands of people, mainly from the marginalized countryside of Peru, have been mobilizing in different parts of the country to demand radical political changes. Their demands include Boluarte's resignation, Congress's closure, new general elections this year, and a referendum on a constituent assembly to draft a new constitution. At least 73 migrants and refugees traveling to Europe via the sea are either missing or presumed dead, the United Nations Migration Agency, the International Organization for Migration, or IOM, said in a tweet on Wednesday, February 15. The IOM added that the migrants and refugees were on Tuesday involved in a shipwreck in the Mediterranean Sea off the coast of Libya. According to reports, Libyan authorities and the Libyan Red Crescent involved in the rescue and recovery mission have so far retrieved 11 bodies from the disaster. 7 people from the boat wreck reportedly survived and managed to reach Libyan shores, where they have been taken to hospital and are said to be in extremely dire condition. The boat was carrying a total of 80 people and had set sail from the Qasr al-Qayyar village in Libya. According to IOM data from its Missing Migrants project, since 2014, close to 26,000 migrants and refugees have gone missing in the Mediterranean Sea. Despite these staggeringly high numbers, the European Union, along with individual European countries, continue to find ways to crack down on the migrants and refugees trying to reach Europe, either for pursuing a better life and employment opportunities or to escape war, conflict, violence, and persecution. To achieve this, they have signed numerous agreements with countries in Africa, such as Libya, which task these countries to intercept and prevent migrants and refugees from crossing over into Europe. Reports noted that one such agreement between Italy and Libya was automatically renewed earlier this month for an additional 3 years. Similarly, European Union leaders from 27 countries met last week and agreed to implement stricter border controls to prevent migrants from entering Europe. The EU's plans include increased funding for cameras, drones, watchtowers, and other devices, along with other forms of mobile, stationary, and electronic surveillance, including cars. A number of EU countries, such as Austria, have additionally proposed for the building of walls and fences along some of the EU's external borders. The EU continues to take such action and move forward with these plans despite repeated warnings from human rights groups, the UN, as well as the International Criminal Court that such measures could make them complicit in a variety of egregious human rights violations, war crimes, and crimes against humanity, including murder, enforced disappearance, torture, sexual violence, rape, enslavement, and others. In our third story, the Israeli parliament approved an amendment to the country's 1952 citizenship law on Wednesday, February 15. According to this law, Israeli citizens and residents of occupied East Jerusalem convicted of acts of so-called terrorism will be stripped of their citizenship and deported. The new law will apply to all Israeli citizens or residents who receive any financial support from the Palestinian Authority or its affiliated organizations, implying that only Arab citizens of Israel will be subjected to the law and not the Jewish population. Israel terms most acts of resistance to its occupation of Palestinian territories as terrorism. Since its illegal annexation of East Jerusalem in 1980, Israel has provided resident rights to the Palestinians living there. The bill proposed by Likud MP Ofti Katz was approved by an overwhelming majority of the Israeli parliament, with MPs voting in favor across party lines. Out of a total 120 MPs, 94 voted in favor and only the 10 Arab MPs voted against. The new law allows Israel's Interior Ministry, after a hearing, to revoke the citizenship or residency rights of a person and deport them to the occupied West Bank or Gaza. That person will not be allowed to re-enter Israel. Reacting to the law, Arab MPs called it racist. Hadash-Tal MP Ahmed Tibi called it a populist draconian law carefully designed to be applied to Palestinians. Times of Israel reported that he accused the Knesset of voting with the feeling of Jewish supremacy. Palestinians and other activists have called this law another example of the Israeli apartheid regime and institutional racism. A related bill concerning the revocation of the citizenship of family members of so-called terrorists and their deportation also received the approval of a majority of the Knesset on Wednesday during its very first hearing. And finally, school teachers and their unions in Greece have intensified protests against the neoliberal reforms and other anti-worker policies pushed by the conservative New Democracy-led government, targeting the schools and teachers across the country. On February 15, Wednesday, abiding to the call of teachers' unions including Teaching Federation of Greece, the IOC, Federation of Secondary Education Officers, OLME, student groups and parents association, massive mobilizations took place across Greece. In the mobilizations, the teachers have demanded to repeal two laws calling to commercialize and standardize school education in Greece as per the diktats of the European Union. The teachers have also demanded to increase their wages on par with inflation, better work contracts, regularization of casual contracts with full benefits, repealing of faulty evaluation criteria set for teachers, and to relax the high cutoff set for qualifying exams for students. Working class forces including the All Workers Militant Front, the PAME, Communist Party of Greece, KKE, etc. have expressed solidarity with the protesting teachers. In a statement, the KKE said that the teachers are right and that they are even today trying to strengthen the education system and make it more equal and inclusive. It accused the government of undermining and manipulating the education system through its policies instead of working towards reforming it to make it better for both the students and the teachers. According to 902.gr, major mobilizations took place in the cities of Athens, Patras, Heraklion, Corfu, Kefalonia, Lemnos, Samos, Chios, and other places. And that's all we have for today's episode. For more such stories, visit our website peoplesdispatch.org and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.